Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and Gothamites. My name is Emily Sophia, and I'm going to be breaking down for you guys the latest of Gotham. So we got Season 1, Episode 4, Arkham. So, spoiler alert before we dive into the thick of things, as I will be bearing all in this review. And without further ado, let's kick it, get into it, into the knit and grit. So here we go. I must first say that I am, along with many others in the world, I think a bit perplexed as to what sort of tone the show is going for as a whole. And there was some sloppy writing that really became apparent to me this week, and it was a little bit illusion breaking at times. We had some weak points for me in the form of the Gordon and Barbara relationship, for one thing. I feel that that puppy was a little bit botched. We also had some issues with the pretty much discardable villain of the week in the form of Gladwell, a hitman who is essentially being used by both the Falcone and the Morrissey camps to take out each other's councilmen, further underscoring the corruption of the city as these two major gangs are controlling everybody on the great chessboard that is the world of Gotham politics. So of course now that part of the picture was quite interesting, as well as getting to see more of the Penguin's role in such affairs. His slow but sure ascent to power. Well, not so slow actually, he got quite a raise this week. But the Penguin continues to steal the show, but there are other aspects that to me fell a little bit flat, and yet it is the flat-footed Penguin who is really getting in the limelight and is I definitely think that he is a huge fan favorite, and with good reason. Robin Taylor is doing an exceptionally creepy and fantastic job in that role. Makes it a pleasure to watch. Fish Mooney was also interesting this week, but again, I'm not so sure what her motivations are, and I think that those could be made a bit more apparent without necessarily having to spoil exactly what plans she has. But what does she intend to do with this, you know, Selena Gomez looking singer? Like, they're kind of, you know, first they're playing this very intimate one-on-one version of The Voice down in her nightclub, and then it's these two pretty chicks duking it out in an alleyway, and all of a sudden she's got her weapon. And I would imagine that the idea for her is to mess with Falcone, and we've seen that the two of them like to kind of play with each other's lovers, and that's sort of the way that they enact their power struggle. And so perhaps what Fish Mooney intends is to seduce the Falcon, okay, with this girl, but just, I don't know, I wasn't really that compelled by the character, and I think part of it is that she looked too much like Selena Gomez for me to take anything that was happening seriously. I guess that's my problem. I don't know. I'm great at breaking illusions for myself, making those connections. And then we also got to see a little bit of what was going on with, I think that I read this in an IGN review of the episode. They're calling young Bruce Wayne Lil Wayne. And that is a new one to me. I appreciate new Batman humor because we as an internet community pretty much wallow in the same, like this cesspool of memes that is at once so enchanting and delightful and stupid, but I love these little new things that brighten up that world of hilarity for me. Anyways, so it's strange to me just how close Bruce Wayne is to being Batman at this point in his life. And it seems to me that they're setting him up to actually be the one to solve the murder of his parents, or who actually committed the murder. You know, he's keeping very up to date on all the political happenings of his city, and is definitely extremely interested in the fate of Arkham as it applies to the vision of his parents, who wanted there to be a new asylum. a new way to rehabilitate the sick souls of the city, and in that way bestow hope upon the people and infuse its soul, you know, all those glorious and grand ideals that are very much undercut by the mayor's decision to give Morrissey a pretty big piece of the pie as far as the, oh, what is it? It's like a waste plant or whatever that he gets to build in Arkham. Meanwhile, Falcone gets to do a housing development, and they're essentially keeping the same asylum except with slightly newer technology. So, but I mean, honestly, the best part of the episode for me was the focus on Arkham, as I've been playing Arkham Asylum with my brother, which is a very, very fun game. You learn a lot about the Batman universe that way, so I highly recommend it to anybody who wants to learn more and to enjoy exploits as Batman in that sinister and seedy world. And it's just such an iconic and integral part of the universe, and it's going to become a really exciting place for the turf wars that are currently starting to unfold. Yeah, so as a whole, the episode had moments that gripped me and engaged me and have me excited for where the show could be going, and at other times I was just begging to be let out. So my problem with Barbara might be one that you share, and I need to get this off my chest because it is really, really upsetting me. She has pretty much driven me insane since the very beginning, because her vision of having a good relationship with her fiance is knowing everything about Gotham through his perspective as a detective in a world that is incredibly corrupt and complex, and of course Gordon encounters a lot of very sensitive information and sinister figures on the job, and yet for some reason his relationship with Barbara has to hinge on all of that information coming to light. Now, if you recall the first time that Gordon actually shared something with her about an active case that he was working on, the first thing that she did was rush to the phone and call the press. Now, if she did that with this situation, with the Falcone-Morrissey war, she could pretty much ignite the Arkham War herself, and I am convinced that she would. And so the fact that she pretty much poses, she goes to him in his workplace, and I love the cinematography in this scene because we see kind of the clock tower silhouette right in the center, like this dividing line between them. The symmetry and the mise-en-scène of the show is beautiful. I love, love, love the visuals, even if the content therein is a bit lopsided at times. It is a pretty show, and it definitely relishes the opportunity to bring out the colors and the darkness of Gotham. Anyways, Barbara's up in there, and she's like, well, if I can't know who Oswald Cobblepot is, then I don't think I can't live this way. And part of you understands, because knowing who the Penguin is could possibly give her a chance to protect herself when Gordon can't be there for her and when things are inevitably going to go horribly wrong. But at the same time, she's a little bit too much of a loose cannon. She's definitely opposite Gordon in that way, because he sees all of this corruption, but he knows that he can't just jump up and flip the tables, clear the temple, and set the scale straight himself. He just can't. It's too dense of an institution, and he has to play the role that he can and keep things close to the vest when he can. And Barbara is just not that way. And so that just really pissed me off when, and then her reveal about her past relationship with Montoya was also really strange. I don't know, it didn't really seem to do much to enhance the plot overall. It really just kind of added to the vat of frustration. I mean, at least they don't paint Gordon as being homophobic or getting angry with her because it was a woman, you know, as she insists he must be mad about this, but he's more just mad that You know, he says he's mad that she lied, but I think he's also frustrated that he's in a very complex situation. Nobody knows that Oswald Cobblepot, the Penguin, is still waddling his way about, and not so much waddling as he is bopping to the top. But it just annoys the crap out of me, and I don't understand, and I don't like it. And what's also weird is that in the comics, Gordon's daughter's name is Barbara, and she ultimately becomes, you know, Batgirl and everything. Oracle. Ring any bells? So, I don't really know about the longevity of this Barbara character, but she is pissing the crap out of me, and that is an oxymoron, because I do not know how exactly you can piss the crap out of someone. But that's what's happening. That is the only bodily way that I can describe it. But at any rate, so the hitman guy, it was really like the whole puncture, ice pick, stabby, McJabberson gizmo. What was the point of that? It wasn't explained or really given a good, I don't know. It just seemed like such an arbitrary choice. It was all very random in terms of presentation. The guy himself he wasn't that sinister. In his first scene, I was like, okay, I'll give him a chance, but he was just so overtly, like, just really nothing to his character. He was really a pawn in the chessboard of, or the chess game of showing us what's at work and what's at stake in this turf war between Falcone, Morrissey, and, well, secretly in the background we've got Fish and the Penguin as players in the mix as well. He was really just kind of a small part of that. But I love that we're finally starting to see the genius of the Penguin, because that is where it is at in the show for me right now, and I'm quite pleased with the way that the writers have constructed this character and the way that Robin Lord Taylor plays him as well. So we ultimately get to discover that the Penguin was behind the attack on Maroni's restaurant, and that he poised himself perfectly to appear a hero in the situation when in fact he was the one who orchestrated the affair. And, you know, sealed that can of worms with a little bit of poison cannoli. So, good job, Buster. He still doesn't really do a good job of, like, cleaning up his crime scenes. He just sort of leaves things and dramatically shuts doors as if the past is in the past when you turn the knob, and that's it. I don't know how I feel about that, but apparently it's working out for him so far, and I'm trying to figure out what all he is capable of, what assets does he possess to kind of start working his way to the top. But he definitely played on Maroni's affection and appreciation for him as he goes straight from dish boy to manager. Hello, that social ascension is in motion. He's clearly making the right moves, and then he's also got Gordon under his thumb a bit by playing his informant, while at the same time I think Gordon is going to turn into the Penguin's pawn when he introduces himself. When he, the Slim Shady, returned from the grave, steps on up to the stage and starts rapping, you know. I really do not know where that metaphor came from. I am exhausted, and I'm amazed that I am even talking at all. But, yeah, so it's very, I loved the introductory scene where the Penguin arrives in his suit and, and banters with Barbara like, oh, man, don't you know it? You know, that kind of conversation, because I mean, because Oswald is such a freaking awkward guy, but he played that off quite smoothly. And then I love the way that the scene in the alleyway with Gordon and the Penguin was done. Just the colors and the vividness and weirdness of it all. It felt very comic book-esque. And I enjoyed that noirish goodness there. But what he tells Gordon is like, you kill me now or you trust me. And he says that as if it's possible to do one or the other. But it's really not. Because exactly how much can Gordon invest his trust and faith in this guy whom he told not to come back to Gotham? clearly the Penguin is a man of his own word, and his words are as slippery as the fish that he will ultimately consume, I imagine, as the war heats up. And once Fish Mooney finds out that he's still in the picture, well, she's gonna have another little birdie to play with besides Falcone, for whom she has all the contempt in the world, and that's fun to watch. But again, what does she want to do with Selena Go-Getter? I really am not sure in that department. And then, of course, it's strange that, like, the only thing that's keeping Lil Wayne from being Batman is just the fact that he is young. But it's interesting to see the role that Gordon and Alfred both play in his life, and both of them are trying to allow him to choose his own path. I think that Alfred wants to pull back on the reins a little bit, whereas Gordon is in the same place of wondering and in the same place of desiring justice, and so he's there to kind of be like, there is light, there is this and that, and, you know, kind of waxes poetic in his own way. But very interesting the way that they are constructing Bruce, because he seems to be on the cusp of putting on the cape and you know, not so much digging a hole in the backyard to like build a sandcastle as he is getting ready to build a Batcave and get to work. Because this episode really hinged on, you know, he's looking into stuff with his parents. He wants to see his parents' legacy furthered, and he's really discouraged by the move forward that the Morrissey family gets and the implications that has for his parents' vision. And so that further kind of pushes him on the Batman path. But he's got to slow down at some point, unless we're gonna have an angsty teen Batman, or, well, I mean, I guess you could argue that the Nolan Batman was an angsty adult Batman, but it's like at this rate, it seems like he is so close. But we'll see what happens. I really want to see how he changes as a result of getting to meet Selena Kyle, which I hope will happen soon. And I am still waiting on the arrival of Victor Saz. We did get a little bit of the Riddler this week, which was fun, but he always makes these really weird pop-up cameo appearances of sorts. Like, he's just sort of there, this little groundhog poking up with his, oh, I'm like inhaling my own hair. That is probably not healthy. he just pops up and he's like, what do we have here? Ooh, strange, isn't it? Weird. But I think that he really must, the actor, I think he relishes the opportunity to just weird it up. As does Robin as the Penguin. Wait a minute. Robin Taylor as the Penguin. And Jada Pinkett Smith as Mooney as well. They've definitely all got a style about them, but yeah, so the Riddler, essentially, he's there to serve the purpose of indicating that the hitman, the killer who took out Falcone and Morrissey's guys, it was the same one. So, you know, big whoop. It's really more about the style of the character than what he's saying at this point, but I look forward to him getting to be an integral player of sorts. Now, I have depleted my throat moisture. I am starting to lose it now, but thank you guys so much for watching my review. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the show. I must say once more, the cinematography is one of my favorite things about the show, even though there's a lot of unevenness in other places. It reminds me somewhat of NBC's Hannibal, another very gorgeous and visceral show. Like, I love the way that they do angles, the way they situate characters and shots. Everyone is so structured and polarized and just set in the scenes. And when you pick those apart and try to figure out, you know, what's being said with the placement of characters in the scene. You know, are they made to look small and diminutive? Are they made to look like they are on opposite sides of the ideological spectrum? I mean, it's cool stuff, and there's lots of little Easter eggs to be found and things of that nature, but I really hope that the show figures its identity out before it is too late. We do have a full season order for it now, so hopefully it's got a lot of time to experiment. I mean, I think it'll be back for a second season, but I hope that by then it will be a more cohesive unit of awesome. But in the meantime, Penguin, keep it real and find your umbrella too, because I'm looking forward to the full get up there. So thank you once again for watching. Fill in anything else that I missed in the comments, and I will be back before you know it.